Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you are having a great drama-free day, guys. We can't say the same about OP, whose husband demands OP chooses between him and her brother's family, who OP let move in with him. But OP's brother is helping OP out while OP's husband doesn't work and sits on the couch watching TV all day. Listen to the story to find out what OP does, and of course, to hear my insights on the situation. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. 39 female. My brother and his wife lost everything 6 months ago. Their company liquidated. They lost their house 3 months later because neither of them could find employment in their area. One of their vehicles was repossessed, etc., etc. They were living in their vehicle for a month with their kids and dog after selling off their valuables. My husband and I talked, and he reluctantly agreed to let me help them out with a place to stay. See, my husband is unemployed due to a back injury 8 months ago and hates company, especially where I'm hardly home because of how much I'm working. I personally think he's fine now, but he says he isn't. So they've been here for 2 months. Both of them now work full-time and have helped me out significantly with bills, electric, mortgage, food, because I'm struggling myself since my husband isn't working. Well, 3 weeks ago, my husband told me if they didn't get out of his house, that he would leave me. He said he's tired of the kids and dogs and lost his cool on their small child, yelled at him. So he said me or them. I personally went out and purchased them a camper to stick on my property, but it needed a lot of work done. So my brother has been working on it on his time off, but they've been staying in a tent on my property in the meantime. Their dog still stayed in my house due to the heat. But now my husband says that he's ducking done with the dog, and that they need to all leave, and again, gave me the same me or them talk. So I told my brother that they needed to leave, and offered to help cover a campground cost and told him why. My brother is extremely pissed at me right now, because since they've been here, they have spent almost $3,000 helping me out with bills, just to be tossed out like last week's garbage due to a deadbeat low-life duck who sits on his butt all day doing nothing, while we all bust our butts and pay his way. They've spent a lot of what money they've gotten, and I am grateful and helped where I could. I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, I took a vow here, and I'm not willing to lose my husband for my brother and his family, no matter how hard up they are. Edited to add, as for the back injury, the doctors have straight up said they think my husband is faking the injury and have stopped all pain meds. Sometimes he acts like he's in pain, but other times, when I'm not really focusing on him, he does kind of look like he's fine. I'm not sure if it's just an excuse to not work. He swears it isn't, but I don't know. He doesn't do anything around the house, no. He watches TV all day. Well, I would like to see what would happen if OP would choose her brother's family over her husband. I bet nothing would happen. OP's husband is contributing nothing to this household. He has no say in what goes on in that house. OP needs to call his bluff. It sounds to me like OP's brother is absolutely right and is paying OP's husband's way, and it isn't fair to toss them out after all they've done to help out. Also, I think OP should return their money to her brother's family, or at least a large portion of it. And now let's see if the community agrees with my opinion. Farbin6235 says, "You're the a-hole, and if I were you, I'd choose them over your crappy husband who screams at kids. Tossed out like last week's garbage due to a deadbeat low-life duck who sits on his butt all day doing nothing, while we all bust our butts and pay his way. Your brother is absolutely right." Graham's Nose says, "You're the a-hole. Your brother is spot on about your husband. He is lazy and aggressive. I suggest you give your brother back the money he gave you for bills." Web Acceptable 7932 says, "You're the a-hole. When you lose everything because you can't afford bills and husband won't work, don't go asking your brother and his family for help." My female 29, sister 31, always has to do everything before I do, even if it's something she doesn't want to do. She graduated from high school and then went traveling around the world. When I graduated and our mom told her I wasn't taking a gap year or two, she immediately registered for college and graduated before I did. When my boyfriend and I got engaged, she finalized her wedding plans that had been in the formative stage for a year within a week. Her wedding was 2 months before mine. I don't know why she is this way. Anyways, I was storing some baby stuff for a friend of mine in the spare room in my house. My husband and I are absolutely not ready for a kid yet. My sister was over, and I guess she was snooping because she started asking me if I was pregnant and why I hadn't told anyone. I told her I wasn't pregnant yet, and that's when she interrupted me and said that was good because babies are a huge responsibility, blah blah blah. That was around February. My folks just had a 4th of July party, and my sister announced that she is expecting. Everyone congratulated her, and when I did, she said that she couldn't wait to see our babies playing together. I said that probably wasn't going to happen since we were planning on me getting pregnant in a few years, once we were better established. She got a weird look and asked about the baby stuff. I said I was storing it for a friend while they set up their new apartment. My guest bedroom is back to normal now. She has been calling me and texting me and saying that I should convince my husband we are ready now. I said no ducking way. Babies are a huge responsibility, and we have some pretty sweet vacations planned for the next few years. She is pissed at me for letting her think my husband and I were starting a family. I didn't do that. She just didn't let me tell her that it wasn't my stuff. Our mom is super happy that she is getting a grandchild and thinks my sister is the greatest daughter ever. My husband and I will think about her when we are biking the death road in Peru. Honestly, I feel sorry for the child. Hopefully OP's sister will change her attitude before her child is born. Anyways, OP's sister assumed something she shouldn't have instead of just believing what OP said, which is a really dumb thing to do considering how life-altering of a decision it is. Let's see what the community thinks on the situation. Cloud King says, not the a-hole. Honestly, I can understand the idea of wanting to have kids around the same time. It helps having another family, friend who is raising babies around the same age. It means someone else is going through what you are. Plus, you can coordinate babysitting, so you can still have date nights and stuff like that. So it's an understandable idea. But she assumes something she shouldn't have, instead of just believing what you said, which is a really dumb thing to do considering how life-altering of a decision it is. Capistel says, I find it unbelievably funny when karma knocks on people's door. You did literally nothing, OP. Your sister is insane and should be searching for a therapist instead of snooping around your house. I think it is worth talking to her. Try and ask her what's the matter with all that. She may be honest with you and may solve the problem. Anyhow, she put herself in this situation, and now it's her problem to manage for the next 18 years. Not the a-hole. Isox says, not the a-hole. Your sister loves to outshine you. Now she gets center stage at home with her kid whilst you're living your best life. Congrats. Time to plan an epic 30th for yourself too. My daughter, 22, just got in a car wreck 5 days ago. She was at fault. She sideswiped someone in her blind spot. It completely bent her frame, and the car is beyond repair. The only dealership that will approve her for a vehicle won't have her vehicle available for 2 weeks. It's a buy here, pay here. Now my brother and his wife are buying a part of my land, 2 acres. My brother makes monthly payments on it while his wife stays home all day. She claims it's because her pregnancy is destroying her legs, and it hurts to walk. Since she has been out of work, I knocked $300 off the monthly cost to help him out. His wife doesn't ever go anywhere, so her vehicle just sits in the driveway. My daughter obviously needs a car, so I talked to my brother 3 days ago and told him that for the next 2 weeks, they should consider allowing my daughter to use the vehicle because I don't have time to take her to work, and Uber would be costing easily $200 a day due to the distance. My brother says that's probably not going to happen, and I said, well, make it happen. After all, I'm knocking money off their monthly rent, and it's the least they could do. I call him this morning and ask him why he hasn't gotten back to me, and he says, my wife isn't comfortable with your daughter using her vehicle after just crashing her own, and gave some excuse of, the car is the only thing she really has, so it's a big ask. I guess because his wife has been selling off her stuff to make bills since she's out of work. I told him he needs to figure it out, or the payments will go back up because I need to help my daughter get a vehicle. He says I'm an a-hole because I'm taking my daughter's negligence out on them. Well, in my opinion, OP is acting extremely entitled and is very rude here. Her daughter just crashed her car. It is very reasonable for anyone to not be comfortable loaning her their car, especially if they are in a tight financial position. It's an absolutely huge favor, and the fact that OP demanded it rather than asking was very rude. Yes, OP is helping them out, but that doesn't mean that they have to let OP's daughter mess up their own car. Let's see what the community's opinion on the matter is. I am Irene says, you're the a-hole. This is a problem for your daughter to solve, with your help if you so choose. You don't get to make demands of people, even family, about their privately owned property, even if they're in the process of making payments to you, period. And I'll just add that leveraging the land discount over him is a particularly disgusting tactic. This is going to injure your relationship with your brother, and you aren't teaching your daughter anything about personal responsibility here. Ninnis Dedry says, "You're the a-hole. Massively. Huge entitlement issues here. Make it happen. Ouch. If you're knocking off $300 because your sister-in-law is out of work, but it hinges on the caveat that your, it seems, terrible driver daughter gets to use the car, then you're not really knocking $300 off to be kind or to help them." Misfit 0416 says, "You're the a-hole. It doesn't matter if she's using the car or not. It's her car. She can use it as a garden. It's none of your business. Threatening to go up on their monthly payment is a jerk move." For background, my 26 female, partner, 27 male, and I have a good relationship and get along well. Recently, he proposed to me, and I said yes. Our newborn baby girl was born at the end of June, just a week after said engagement. This morning, I noticed that he posted a picture of his second child from a previous relationship on Facebook. This is normal and nothing of concern, obviously. However, it occurred to me that he has not acknowledged his new child or engagement online whatsoever. I've acknowledged both my engagement and new baby on Facebook, which received much praise and congratulations. I was not expecting him to post in regards to our engagement because he's a rather private person, but it definitely hurt my feelings to see that he continuously acknowledges and posts pictures of his other children. He has two from two previous relationships, but has not done the same for our child. I pointed this out, and he told me that it was because he was a private person, but he definitely posted about previous people he's been with, including their shared children. I've not been acknowledged publicly at all in our relationship, and only immediate family members and close friends know about me. And before anyone says it, I'm not so much upset about me, our engagement not being posted about, because I've never questioned where I stand with him, and I've never felt a need to compete or seek public validation. I feel more disappointed that our child, the child given to him by the only woman he's asked for her hand in marriage, didn't make the cut for being post-worthy. Because of this, I've taken off my ring and told him that if our child is a secret, so is our engagement. He argued that it's not the same thing. And I told him a ring is public and symbolic acknowledgement of our relationship, and that even without it, we are still engaged, just like we still have a baby, even if he refuses to tell the world about her, the way he does with his other children. I told him if he doesn't have to acknowledge me as his fiancé or his newborn child, I don't have to wear a ring that lets the world know I'm in a committed relationship, for my privacy. I don't like the idea of being a secret fiancé or having my child be a secret from his friends and family. I strongly believe my child deserves the same adoration and acknowledgement as any of our other children. Am I the a-hole? Well, looks like OP is just a number in his harem. I don't think he will ever acknowledge OP. In my opinion, his behavior is a massive red flag, and OP should check on him. Loving Life at My Age says, "I really don't get some women. This bloke is on his third baby mama. Are you really so obtuse that you don't realize he's probably got number 4 already lined up? Yeah, he's not posting you on social media because he doesn't want your relationship ducking up any others he may be planning. Also, how do you know he's never asked anyone else to marry him? Did he tell you that himself? You're the a-hole, mainly for subjecting you and your baby to a lifetime of a failed relationship with this man." CYR Ducked My Mom says, "You're the a-hole. Imagine asking your fiancé to let his other girlfriends and maybe a potential wife or two know about your experience. In reality, not the a-hole, but I would legitimately be worried about if other people know or he has other women on the hook at the same time. Also, fairly importantly, are you linked to his socials and or tag his socials from your posts? If there is no obvious link to him, then him not posting is a massive red flag that he is still dating or has other long-term relationships he's hiding. Maybe it's something like race, and he knows his parents or family will freak out if you're a different race than him, and he's just trying to avoid a problem. But he'd still be in the wrong. But the idea he's trying to protect his privacy when he posts pictures of his other kids and relationships is obviously BS. Inanimi Mainyung says, "Everyone sucks here." He's 27. I think the earliest he could have had his first child was 16. So 3 children in 9 years with 3 different women. Does he use protection at some point, or were they all planned? Social media isn't real life, and you should have talked privately about your child's privacy before it was born. For me, it would have been important to have an open communicated engagement and save my child for social media. But I think he's already up to search for number 4. I just went out to dinner with my mom and dad, both 56. I live with them while I go to grad school, me, female 24. I'm very grateful. I was always taught to have super good manners, and so was my brother. My brother, 28, is married to my sister-in-law, 27. We just returned from a week-long trip to an expensive location that my parents paid for. We stayed at the same house, and all us siblings had to pay for was our plane tickets. I thank my parents up and down for paying for the rental, and pretty much the whole vacation. While on vacation, my sister-in-law assumed we'd be coming back next year and showed off clothes for her baby, that she's currently pregnant with, for next year. I found it odd that she just assumed we were going next year, since after all, my parents paid for the entire thing. Also, it was never set in stone to go next year, and I also never heard her say thank you to my parents. Of course, that doesn't mean she didn't, just because I didn't hear it, but my dad insinuated she didn't. I went to dinner with just my parents last night, and I brought up how I thought it was weird, and how I thought it was weird she never thanked my parents. Just to let y'all know, talking poorly about my sister-in-law is a huge no-no, specifically for my mom. My mom treats her like the daughter she never had, even though I'm her only daughter. So when I mentioned it, my dad agreed, but my mom was pissed, and hasn't talked to me the rest of our time together. Even in the car, I apologized to my mom for talking negatively about my sister-in-law, but she's still ignoring me. I made it clear that just because what I thought my sister-in-law did was weird, that doesn't mean I think she's a bad person, or think down on her. Still, she's upset with me. This isn't the first time. Not to beat up a The Office joke, but if my mom had 2 bullets and had to shoot someone, she'd 100% shoot me twice. It's no doubt in my mind. My mom complains about me non-stop to my sister-in-law, which I've overheard many times, so I don't have much of a relationship with my sister-in-law. She also assumes my mom and her mom are paying for this elaborate and expensive baby shower and sends them links to different venues all the time, which I also think is weird. On top of it, my mom blamed my dad for my sister-in-law being greedy, and that he put it in her head, so he needs to suck it up and pay up. I'm fed up with this. I hate how I can't talk to my mother about my sister-in-law, and I'm jealous of their relationship, since my mom pretty much hates me. I confronted her, but it's all the same as the past. My mom is mad at me for saying anything negative about my sister-in-law, and I'm the bad guy. I gave up a long time ago trying to please my mother, but it still hurts. I feel guilty for upsetting my mom and saying anything in the first place. I just don't want my parents to be taken advantage of. Am I the a-hole for speaking up about this? Harvey Snake says, "Not the a-hole. I wouldn't apologize either. You did nothing wrong. Either your brother is the golden child in the family and sister-in-law is the golden daughter by extension of her marriage, or you are worthless because your mom believes in the archaic idea that only men can continue on the family name, making your sister-in-law worth more as a baby factory than you. You have probably always been a second-class citizen to your mom and just thought it was normal. I think talking to your dad privately, without your mom, may help you get more clarity on the situation. Ultimately, you may have to just go low contact with your mom because she doesn't sound like she will ever care about you." Let Me Read Please says, "Not the a-hole. Just hang out and do fun stuff with your dad. Mom's going to lunch with sister-in-law? Watch a game or go for a hike or something with dad. Don't miss out on bonding with her cause she's with sister-in-law. Use that opportunity to hang out with and show appreciation for your other parent, who seems to hear you and be on your wavelength." Such Awareness 2960 says, "Not the a-hole, but you need to give up on trying to get your mom to love you as much as she does your sister-in-law. Do you realize how messed up that is? Why keep trying to get her affection rather than accept your relationship is broken and can't be fixed? I know that is harsh, but your mom isn't interested in being close with you. So you are fighting a losing battle. All you're doing is hurting yourself. Instead, you should be focusing on the positive relationships in your life. It sounds like you have one with your dad. Develop that more.